Really take a look at if you died today, would you be satisfied with your life? It's like if you died right and you couldn't change anything, would you be satisfied? Is how far you've gotten right now. Would you be satisfied? If you are, cool, man. Hey, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're not, next question you ask yourself is like, okay, if that's the case, then if I did die today, what regrets would I have? And don't just have those regrets. Go fucking change them. Do something today, like you said, to change that. Start. You don't need to have it figured out all the way. Just start doing something. Take action. Start.
Don't let your regrets outlive your change.
Be a man who moves mountains.
Welcome to the Warrior's Way Home podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Warrior's Way Home podcast. We're here to inspire men to tap back into that warrior mindset of masculinity and infuse manhood back into modern day, what we like to call putting the fight back into men.
Absolutely.
My name is Edmund. Here with my brother Travis. We're your hosts for this episode, and we are actually tapping back into the Dokkodo for this continued series from principles 16 to 18. So before we get started with these next few principles, we're coming to the end of the Dokkodo, actually.
Yep.
Since there's only 21 principles, so if you haven't been able to walk with us on this journey so far, please go back and check out the other episodes at your leisure. There's no particular order to them. But yeah, just today we're covering 16 to 18.
And now we come to the end of the road.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey so far.
It has been. It's been very relevant, and just like in a couple episodes, man, today is some of the ones we have is even more relevant in today for us
personally.
Yeah, personally, and on a brotherly level as well. So I know you had something you wanted to say.
So we actually earlier today, before we started recording, we got a group call with some friends of ours from the Power Circle. Shout out to y'all. We heard that one of our founding brothers, Earth Mover West, Brother Wesley, has passed away. So we wanted to give love and support to his family. Man, since I've been a part of the circle, he has always been there. You know what I'm saying? And from what I could hear with some of the other brothers talking, he was kind of a part of the beginning as Soul was kind of getting his feet up under him and getting his movement going. So, man, I was able to spend a little bit of time with him, just like over the phone. Never got to meet him in person, but I was hoping to meet him here soon. But always a good guy. To me, he was that like show don't tell kind of person. You know what I mean? Like he was about action, and that's we always try to be action oriented men and do the things that we say we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? So he. Even though he had just recently passed, either today or last night, we're still trying to get the details on that. He had moved from one state to another in pursuit of his dream, and to us, he was somebody who was always trying to go for it because he knew that we didn't have a lot of time on this earth. So, we just wanted to say salute to him and his family,
absolutely,
to Earth Mover West, and we just want to dedicate today's episode to you.
For sure. I didn't get to spend really much time at all with Wes, but I definitely heard quite a few stories about him being in the circle, especially from Soul. Shout out to Soul. He definitely had the name, from what I gather, Earth Mover for a reason, because that dude made moves, like you said.
Sure.
It's like that dude. Once he decided to do something, it sounds like he wasn't about that talk. Once he decided to do something, you already knew it was about to happen.
Right.
So it's just a matter of when. So you need to watch out and move out the way, because homeboy's coming through.
Sure.
moving mountains.
Right. So, literally, because he was always a good example for that too. So we'll dig a little bit deeper into that as well. But
so shout out to Wes.
Shout out to the Power Circle. Definitely. Shout out to Wes.
And rest in peace, man. Rest in power, for sure.
So principle number 16, we want to go over for the Dokkodo. Do not collect weapons or practice with weapons beyond what is useful. So for this one, this underscores the importance of practicality in self-defense. This is one of the things that we had kind of talked about in preparation of the episode. It encourages individuals to focus on acquiring and honing skills and tools that are genuinely beneficial for their personal safety and safety of those around them. So in martial arts, a perfect example for this, or just like one of the many examples where I can kind of come in and speak from my experience. you can get your hands on a lot of different weapons depending on the style that you're practicing. You know, sword, bow, nunchuck, sai, whatever. You can be your own Ninja Turtle if you want to, but it's that experience, it's that familiarity that you get when you're working with these different weapons, and you're not 9 times out of 10 you're not going to be walking down the street with a sword, or encounter somebody with a sword, unless you're
Travis.
Unless you're Travis.
Don't try me.
But you will encounter people who want to use everyday weapons or items in like a bar fight or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like
sticks, bottles,
sticks, bottles, knives. I do love brass knuckles because it's a blunt object kind of thing, and it's not easily taken away from you, so that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like there's still a plethora of other weapons that can be used. But the more familiar you are with just some of these basic principles as you're studying these ancient weapons or these modern day weapons, the more you can translate that into things like a baseball bat or, a stick you can find on the ground during hikes and stuff like that. There's always, but the point is to not over practice with those things or try to get that familiarity with everything to the point where you have that, what do you call it? I think it's called like analysis paralysis or whatever, where definitely. You have too many options.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you hone in on I'm just really good at knives, or I'm just really good at sticks, or I'm just really good at firearms, whatever that it is, then that helps you cut down on that decision-making time if your life is actually in danger.
Absolutely. I took it a different way, but to kind of pile on what you were saying is, mastering one of those things first before you move on to the next thing. Becoming good with bow or good with a knife before you start just moving on. It's like, well, I like the knife, but I'm gonna do nunchucks now. It's like, how about you get really, really, really good with the knife first before you start messing with other things?
Right.
It's just, it's like you want to get so good with this that that it becomes second nature to you before you start moving on something else. What I took from that was even how you see with martial arts without weapons, where you see like in the movies you see all these jumping, spinning kicks and everything like that, or if you watch some of the tournaments and different things like that on or extreme martial arts, like extreme taekwondo or something like that, where they're doing the kata in these extreme ways, jumping and flipping and doing all these things. See a guy jump 6-8 feet in the air and kick a board. When are you going to do that in reality?
Right.
It's like, who's going to be
well, if you're saving a cat from a tree, that's a real good. If you got the hops for it.
So you're going to kick the cat out the tree?
I didn't say, look. You want the results? Don't argue with my methods.
So if you want Evan to save your cat from the tree, ask him to save it. Don't ask him to get it. Don't just
want it out of the tree. I'm your man.
Don't just ask him to get it down. Don't just ask Evan to get the cat down out of the tree.
Right.
Ask him to save it from
Words are
out
important,
of the tree.
kids. Yes.
Because otherwise, Fluffy might get kicked across the road and meet that Mack truck.
Oh, man.
Fluffy! And then it's over.
All right.
But
phrasing's important.
Yeah, it's very important. Use your words very carefully with Edmund. So watch out for my sword and use your words carefully with him.
Exactly.
But you see it in movies all the time. These very fancy techniques and different things like that really don't do shit. Honestly, it's like, we're gonna be honest. Is that you doing I would love to see somebody jump up in the air and try and do a spinning kick with me, because usually if we're in a fight, I'm gonna grab you and slam you into something. Period. Point blank.
Right.
Because it's like the fancier the fancier the move and everything like that. A lot of times, unfortunately, people don't really understand that there's a lot of times where it becomes less effective. You see even watching people watch Ip Man and all these different movies and see all these different techniques where you hit him 30 times. Right. And the dude's still conscious. It's like, it's just like how effective is that move if you can hit somebody with it 5, 6, 10, 12 times?
If you just wanted to hit him 30 times, that's fair.
But exactly. So, it's like you just
conservation of energy.
If he's just going unconscious and the body's just But anyway, but the biggest thing is, so having some of these weaponries or these techniques that have no real value for you in a real life scenario. How much stuff are you actually learning that actually you could use in real life? Hey guys, quick interruption to the episode. Let me tell you about the 8 Inner Gates, our personal growth and self-mastery course that's been showing men just like you how to get unstuck and take their life, relationships,
career, or even business to the next level. The same principles that have helped us to find purpose, overcome depression, command respect, dominate in our careers, and become honorable men, we're now sharing with our brothers. So if you want more of this life, you know you're capable of achieving more of this life, and you're tired of just drifting through it, click down in the description of the episode or in the pinned comment and gain access to the first 2 lessons in the course, completely free on us. Click now and begin unlocking the gates blocking your success.
Because I've met even just a lot of MMA fighters who are like, oh man, I can fight, and then they meet somebody who can actually street fight,
Right.
and get demolished,
Right.
because there's a big difference between sport and fighting. These are 2 very different things in a lot of cases, not all cases, but in a lot of cases. And a lot of people are practicing sport, not fighting. And that's the part you have to understand. That's the part people have to really get in their minds. It's like, so what are you using this thing for?
Right.
So be careful the weapons you're trying to learn, whether it be, if you're trying to learn, the spinning Raijin, twist kick, it's like, which sounds good and looks really cool in a video on Instagram. But when you try it at the bar with the dude who, try to holler at your girl, you get fucked up.
Right.
It's like, don't do that at the bar. I'm going to guarantee you that you're going to get messed up.
For sure.
But you got to be careful what weapons you choose. So it's like, you got to really learn, okay, is this useful, or am I just learning this because it looks cool? It's like, because if you can use it, great, learn those different things like that, but know why you're learning something and why and what your weapons are for. Because if your weapons are just for Instagram, cool, play on Instagram. But if your weapons are for real life, you need to learn those things in a very serious way and take that very seriously. Because I should be able to take you down in a certain amount of time. It shouldn't take me 30 hits to take you the fuck down.
Right.
It should
if
not.
If you're really lucky, it's just the one.
Yeah.
It's the one sweep or the one punch or the one kick or the one shove in a particular direction, and where the momentum can just do the work for you. It's about ease of use. But also that reminds me,
10 seconds. 10 seconds was what my sensei, shout out to my sensei, Danny Reed. 10 seconds was what he used to tell us. Like, if you can't get a technique off in 10 seconds and it be effective, you can't take them down and finish this off in 10 seconds, it's not effective. It's like, period. Point blank. So you got to be able to choose your weapon right. Right. Because if you choose the wrong weapon, you're not going to get that done in 10 seconds. Right. If I'm flipping and flopping and swimming and flinging around, jumping over your head and kicking you in the butt, it's like, that's 10 seconds already up. It's like, and then I'm
and he goes, bang.
Exactly. Exactly. So choose your weapons wisely when you're doing these things, and know the difference between sport and fighting. Yeah. Okay, because that could be the difference that really like saves you in a really rough situation where you think you know some shit and then find out that you don't.
There was a Bruce Lee piece of an interview where he said these ancient arts that because like he was a big proponent of, let's mix whatever that we can together to get the most effective art.
You take what's useful and you not dispose of, but you release the rest.
Right. But he was saying that a lot of these old heads, like, they wanted to just kind of stay in their pocket because they had dedicated their whole life to it and they didn't want to expand so much. Yeah. But he was saying that, like, somebody who had just trained in boxing and wrestling for like maybe a solid year could beat a lot of these ancient masters just because they were using these more modern techniques. Yes. And for things that, like, when you're selecting your style, like, I've been blessed enough
or your weapon.
Yeah, or your weapon.
Style weapon.
That's, to me, that language is interchangeable. Oh yeah. But it's, when you're picking that weapon, you want to make sure it is from somebody who's either used it in the modern day and respects the culture or the history of it. Yeah. But then, like, if anything, somebody who knows the history of what they're trying to teach is better equipped than somebody who's just really good at throwing a jab or really good at throwing a high kick. Yeah. Because they can tell you, like, no, this is why it works. Here's the 3 different ways you can do this one move. Yeah. It's like extra cheat codes. Oh yeah. But you can't keep all that in mind as you're trying to, like, you ever see Baki? Oh, yeah. They do that a lot, where like they explain the history of something while you're punching somebody. Nobody got time for that. But it looks cool, sounds cool, but like as you're in go mode, you don't have time to think about the history of the punch and all that stuff. You're just thinking, okay, I can hit him here, I can hit him here, and I can hit him here based off of what's open in that moment. Yeah. But it's good to be like, no, this is why you should use it in this particular circumstance.
Now they do explain that in Baki, which I like. They're like, this is what happened.
Mid-fight though?
Well, it's the other people usually explaining it while somebody else is fighting.
Mid-fight, though.
It's not the guy. It's not the guy fighting that's explaining. He's not like, and this is why I'm going to hit you with this.
No,
It's the guys in the stand like, oh man, he's about to fuck him up. Look at that. Look at that form. You see the way he's pushing his fist? It's like, this is what's about to happen. Right.
It's the cutscene regardless, though, because I don't care who's explaining it. It's the fact that, you know what I'm saying?
I actually like that part because I'm a martial arts nerd, man.
Yeah, I am too.
I like to know the history. I like to know the history.
After the fight. We can have a whole episode dedicated after the fight.
That's where that came from. I'm Googling it. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, ooh, pause.
Right.
Oh, can I learn this one? Who teaches this?
I just want to see the fight first, explain
like
later.
Hemo Hitty? Like
right.
Hemo Kitty is like the nerve cutting. Oh, I want to learn nerve cutting so bad. Just, shut up. Anyway. I don't care. I don't care who. It's like, man, Shred's a freaking nerd. It's like, when I learn Hemo Kitty, come and tell me I'm a nerd. Cut your cords.
You can go to Salon. They can help you with that.
But you know, and to clarify on this, it's like if you look at modern day weaponry, it's like we're not still using like ball and powder as guns. It's like we modernize. We take what we have and we make those slight changes to it over time. If you look at modern weapons, they change every so often, and by the time you get 20 years down the line, it looks way different, but it's still a similar thing. It's still in the same family, but it's a different type of weapon. And and a lot of times martial arts has changed that way, and if you get stuck in that old way a lot of times, or you get so stuck in this looks cool, but it's not effective at all. You want to have respect for that tradition, but be able to modernize that to be able to use it. Because like for instance with like judo or aikido was designed for disarming swords. It's like, who's running around with a sword now though?
Exactly.
It's like, can you take that and use it for like disarming with a knife or disarming with a gun or something like that? But you have to modernize certain parts of it and actually use it for modern day, for what you're going to face now. Is like, because if you're not going to face, I hope you're not going to face too many guys with a sword as they run around, otherwher you might be in a bad situation.
What kind of life you live in?
It's like you're either in the Hunger Games or the Purge. If you're messing with guys with swords. But yeah, they modernize. It changes over time, so things have to evolve. Having that base respect is great, but things have to evolve in a way to where it's not just evolving just to evolve and look cool, but where it's actually useful. So, and once again, knowing your weapon.
Absolutely.
Using it for the right purpose.
So moving on, the 17th principle, second of the day, 17th in general, that we're looking at is do not fear death, which why we say it was timely for our friend that just passed in the circle. So this encourages individuals to embrace life's opportunity fully. When we live in constant fear, we may become hesitant to take risks, try new things, or pursue our passions. However, understanding that death is an inevitable part of life can motivate us to make the most of our time on Earth. So I'll let you kind of cover this one before I give my thoughts.
So a lot of people die when they're 20 but aren't buried until they're 60.
Oh, okay. You just
and mic drop and walk
And
away.
how long did you have that? Where'd you keep that at? I didn't see that on the way in.
I'm a deep brother, man. I'm a deep brother. I'm not just about cutting cords. I'm about opening minds as well, sir.
Well.
Cut cords, open minds. Cut cords, open minds. No, but it's one of those things where people, I don't know if it's necessarily about being afraid of dying, but people seem like almost at times that they're afraid to really live. And the biggest thing is, I think once you accept, let me talk to you for a second. Here's the reality of the situation of life. There's one rule that no one can escape. You're gonna die. Period. You're going to fucking die. Unless they come up with putting your brain in a robot, which might be coming down the line. They're working on that. But you're going to die. It's like once you accept that, a lot of the fear around that thing goes away. Once you accept that at some point your life is inevitably going to come to an end, and that you're going to pass from this earth, and whatever is going to happen is going to happen. Whatever you may believe, I'm not here to judge any of that, but that's going to happen. Once you accept that, start living in a different kind of way. It's like, are you living to die, or are you dying to live? Is my question. It's
I would
like
say most people are dying to live.
Most people are dying to live. It's like, what do you actually want to do in this life? You know, like our friend Wes is like, you know, talking about he wanted to make a move. He had family, business, all these things built up, and a life set up in Texas where he was. He decided, it's like, I don't want to be here anymore. I want that. This is what I want. This is where I want to be. And he picked up his life and moved it. I mean, like I said, wife, kids, business, family, friends, all these different things like that, which most people would be like, yeah, I want this thing, but you know, I got all this responsibility, family, you know, kids, friends, whatever, you know, all these different things. My favorite coffee shop, you know, they got such an established life that they're so afraid to give up this thing to go get the thing that they want.
Yeah.
Is like, but then my biggest thing is, and the thing that really the only thing that scares me in this life is dying with regrets. It's coming to the end of my life and getting ready to take that last breath and being like, fuck, I didn't, I missed it.
Didn't do enough.
I missed it. I didn't, this ain't it. It's like the very last question I want to ask myself in this life is, what did I waste my time doing? Why did I waste my time doing that? Why was I so afraid to do that thing that I really wanted to do? That is the last thing I want to ask myself. And I think a lot of the books that you read where people talk to people like in the process of passing, making that transition, the biggest thing they talk about is the people's regrets. That is the biggest thing that they talk about. They're not talking to people like, a lot of them are at peace. They're like, yeah, I know I'm about to die. I know it's about to happen. They're at peace with that. The thing they regret is all the shit that they didn't do. The person that they didn't talk to, the places that they didn't go, the business that they didn't start, the martial art that they didn't get to train in, you know, the thing that they didn't take a risk on themselves. They didn't take a risk in their life. Those are the things that people regret. Those are those last moments, that last 30 seconds. That's the thing that's going to haunt you. That's the thing that's going to haunt you more than anything. It's not death you should fear. It's having regrets.
It's what you're thinking on the way out, ultimately.
For
and
sure.
those are like the last thoughts that you're going to have. It's like when you, part of me feels like it's like when you're watching the end of a movie.
Yeah.
Or like the clips or whatever, you're waiting to see, like a Marvel movie, perfect example. You know when you go see a Marvel movie, there's something at either like the middle of the credits or the end of the credits that's going to tell you that there's something else that's going to happen later on involving these characters. Whether they've died or whether you just seen that they're not really dead or they've gone missing. There's always something that says blank will return or some kind of end credit scene. We don't get that.
No.
We don't get end credit scenes. If we did, that'd be cool. That was something that tells you there is something after this. That's the one thing. I think that might be like a little psychological trick that we play on ourselves by ensuring in our movies that there will be something that follows. Because a lot of the stories that we got growing up, they have some kind of finality to them. Movies that we watch, if an actor gets replaced, all right, it's just the actor, but the story itself is going to keep going in some way. Whether you subscribe to we've lived separate lives before, we are only conscious of the one that we have now.
Yeah.
We don't know what the director has in store for us when it's all over. But when you're sitting there watching the credits go by, when you're sitting there you're seeing that the sunset is about to fade or that we're about to fade to black, that's all that there is, as far as we know. You know, even from other religions, this is all debate. Yeah. Nobody has facts. So the only fact is that yes, that we're going to die. We should be looking at that. I'll tell you, if I didn't know that I wasn't going to die, I wouldn't take as many risks because there's a risk factor missing from it.
You know, you got time.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's
But it's the fact that we have time now. I'm sure Wes thought he had time. And the fact that you are still trying to, because I'm all over the place. This is what I'm really trying to get to. It's an exhausting effort to live. It is exhausting to live. I hear it all the time from not just millennials, not just Gen Z or whatever. Like people in general are tired of the day-to-day grind for trying to make sure that they're going to be okay either at the end of the day, into their retirement, into their life. They're trying to make sure that their kids are going to be good. there's so much to think about on a day-to-day basis, we almost don't leave room for fun. Most of us are in survival mode, which doesn't give us the opportunity to think about what would my life be like if I didn't have this 9 to 5? What would my life be like if I went and pursued my education? Yeah. There are times, I had a buddy back home where we went to high school at the same time. He dropped out like 2 months before graduation and has been kicking himself in the ass for it ever since. And he always said, well, I can always go back and get my GED and all this other stuff. Like, oh, I should have never did this. He's made mistakes. Fine. But you have lived in your mistakes. Shit. You have lived in your mistakes longer than it would have taken you to fix it. Oof. Don't do that. Don't live. You got me fired up now.
You have lived in your mistakes.
You have lived with your mistake longer than it would have taken you to fix it. Damn. And that is where we lose that energy for living. It is the throwing up of your hands and saying, that was a mistake, so therefore my life is done. You can't live in your mistakes. You shouldn't. Trauma is already kept in the body, so you're already carrying it around with you. But the fact that you are letting it control your conscious space is what's holding you back from making the proper moves to, one, get it out of your body, get it out of your psyche, and get it out of your spirit. So if you can find a way to forgive yourself, for one, for not living the life that you felt like you should have been living, and then pursue the life that you feel like you should have been living, because until you stop drawing breath, it is not too late. I promise you that. Because what's that old quote is that you have two lives, and the second one starts when you realize you only have one life.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And which is crazy, because when I started making my transformation and started going through my shit and my shadow work and all of that, you're mourning your old life, because there's a certain amount of comfortability that comes with that. You like we said, Wes could have stayed home. He could have continued to be with the people he was with. He was a good dude regardless. He probably could have made plenty of money where he was at. But
had connections.
He chose to go somewhere else and push the limits of his life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure he had regrets, and maybe he could have moved it a different way. Doesn't matter. He did what he was supposed to do. He accomplished his goal. But the thing is, we never know when we've served our mission on earth, type of thing, if that's what you believe in. I believe we are all here for a purpose. And the more I think about it, the more I go back and do a whole life reflection, the more I realize that I've always thought this way. But we get so caught up in the distractions of life and trying to fit in and trying to appease each other and all this other type of stuff, is that we get caught up. We forget why we're here and what we're trying to accomplish in the time that we have it, and we don't know when it's up. So you need to be able to forgive yourself, love yourself enough to go out and to pursue the thing that you know ultimately in your bones that you are here for.
Absolutely. And to cap this off before we move on to the next one, man, because that.
That's your fault.
I knew this was gonna get man, church. One of the biggest things, and I had a cousin. He was a truck driver. He's passed now, but he used to say I talked to him all the time on the phone, like on a daily basis. A lot of times he'd be like, he's like, man, he's like, dude, I'm chill. He said, I don't have to chase, I don't chase any women. He's married and everything. He said, I'm not here running behind women. Not trying to party. He said, man, I just sit in the truck and I'm just driving down the road. He said, I'm just playing back my life in my head, and it's like, whoo, wow. He's like, when I'm done with the truck thing, he's like, I'm just gonna sit under the tree. He's like, I'm just gonna sit under the tree and chill, man, and just watch the movie in my head, man. And I really don't think he died with regrets. I really don't, because some of the stories this dude told me, and I'm not gonna tell you guys these ones. It's like, but some of the stories, this dude lived a very interesting life. Very, very interesting. Yeah. And it's one of those things. He's like, man, I did so much shit, man. He's like, I don't have anything else I want to do. And I was like, damn.
That's rare
to live that way. To live such a full life that before it's over. It's over. He was only in his 60s. Before it's over, to be like, man, it's like, man, I really don't have anything else that I'm like, I really need to do. I don't have any. He didn't have any real cravings, because he had done so much where he's like, I don't crave the women, I don't crave the liquor or the partying or these different things like that. He's he's one of those ones. He's like, I've gained massive fortunes and lost massive fortunes more than. Do you ever see that one phrase, that one clip from? I'm gonna have to throw it in this part from the that movie was with Lions and Kings or something like that, with the two older white guys and the young boy, and it's like, and he has a pet lion.
Between Two Lions or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But where they're in that diner or whatever.
I haven't seen the movie, but
okay,
I've heard of it.
So they're in this diner, and these young kids are messing with this dude, and he's like I'm a war vet of three different wars. He's like, I've gained more fortunes and lost more fortunes than most men have gotten in their life.
Yeah.
It's like I've seen the sunsets of on the deserts of Africa, and I've been to the Arctic tundras and fought polar bears. I've loved one woman more than any man than you'll ever have in your fucking life. And man, it was intense, bro. Yeah. It was so intense that this dude had lived like 1,000. He had lived like 10 lifetimes compared to one man. Right. And that's that's kind of how I felt with my cousin. He's like, it seemed like he had lived so many different lifetimes compared to one person. I was like, damn. Yeah. Bro, I was like, I don't exactly want to do all the stuff that you did, but man, I want to have that. I want to be able to say that same thing, and like, and then be like, bro, I'm good. So, Chuck, you want to do this? Nah, man, I'm cool. Right. It's like, I've done that already.
That's rare to live like that, but some people get caught up in the good things that their life has brought them, and then don't move past it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Like guys who high school football.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They don't live Al Bundy. You know what I'm saying? That was your.
I scored the winning touchdown,
and then that's your life. You got 50 more years of thinking about that moment. Like
that was your pinnacle. You know what I'm saying? Never kept growing. That was your pinnacle.
But you let it be.
Yeah.
At that point, you let it be your life. You let that be the thing that you was gonna down that hill. And never conquer another mountain. Like that was it.
Oh yeah. But and the last thing I want to say is like, man, what you said was so powerful. But I actually do believe that we get an end trailer. I think we do get instinct. I think the reason why people have so much regret and like are so distraught in their life is because I think near the end, I think you get a glimpse of what your life could have been.
Could have, but not. Well, I was thinking more of what's next. You don't get a what's next.
I don't think
you can get what could have been.
You probably don't see what's next, but I think the end trailer is what could have been.
Yeah.
Is like, and if that
you don't want that to be different from,
and if that matches up. Or you did more than what was in that trailer, you're like, man, you die with a smile on your face.
Right.
But if it's not though, that's the part that's scary.
Yeah.
Is with your trailer. What if that trailer of what your life was supposed to be, and that man that you were supposed to be doesn't match up with who you were, who you lived as.
Right.
You don't want to run into that reality.
Right.
You don't want to run into that.
Right. For sure. Man, that was a lot. So. The last one that we have kind of goes into it as well. Principle 18, do not seek to possess either goods or lands for your old age. So for this one...
and some people will be like, what? No, just listen.
Right.
Just listen.
So when we say this, it challenges the societal norms that often drive people to relentlessly accumulate goods and lands as a measure of success and security for old age, especially with us being millennials. Social Security is not going to be a thing. It prompts us to question...
Thanks, boomers.
Right. It prompts us to question the consumerist culture that promotes materialism as a path to happiness and fulfillment. So as we talk about how you want to end your life, we are in a unique position because we know as we get older, we're in our 30s. We got another 30 years, basically, according to Uncle Sam, to figure it out monetarily because I feel like I'm not going to be able to depend on Social Security. I'm not going to be able to depend on the government to do anything for me. So then I have to do things like this, joint ventures or entrepreneurial things or something that is outside of my normal 9 to 5 that is going to help cushion me for the kind of success of the life that I want to have when I'm in my old age. I can't do it anymore. Now, I fully intend on living until I'm 100. I'm going to go to that
got you beat 120, boy.
That's fine. I just want to make it triple digits.
Hey, but it's right. Because I see you in that. That was it. I don't even know what it's called when you make it to 100.
Centurion.
Yeah,
Centurion.
I see you, my Centurion.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but there's some island in Greece where like people are just in the best health. You know what I'm saying?
Where they have the most 100-year-olds and stuff like that.
It's
I
like
think
their
it's like
diet.
in Japan
They don't
too,
have
something like that.
That's true. That's true. Which is crazy because they actually don't take care of.
No, I mean I'm sorry, not Japan, but it's an Asian island.
There's one in Japan.
Isn't it Okinawa?
I don't know if it's Okinawa, but there's something like that.
Somewhere
basically.
around Okinawa, Japan. There's an island where they also have like the most
healthiest,
healthiest
like
society,
healthiest people,
most
older,
close,
people.
like second most 100-year-olds or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it obviously that tells you that there's a science to being able to get even in these times now, and you can do it with all your faculties in check because we see people in their 80s or 70s having dementia or some type of memory issue.
People in their 40s getting dementia.
Exactly. So it's like, how can I'm 32. I just turned 32. I want to keep turning 32. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to keep
times?
as long as it takes, as many as I can get. You know what I'm saying? I want to be 62. I want to be 92. I want to be 102. If I can do that, I understand that there are things that come with that. Like all your friends and family's probably gonna be dead and all that. But it's the quality of life that you can still cultivate in the midst of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People are ready to off themselves now. And they're not even thinking about retirement. But if you do get the chance or have the desire to live to live that long, then don't you want to have some type of quality of life? Don't you want to be the old man running up and down the Manitou incline 3 or 4 times backwards, talking about maybe I'll go a fifth?
Yeah. Beside him and I while we're sitting there guzzling water.
You know what I'm saying? That blew my mind. I'd have some old man run past me talking about maybe I'll do it a third.
It's kind of like getting kicked in the nuts a little bit.
By an old man.
It's like, thanks, old guy. Just kick me in the nuts.
But that's the goal. That's to me, as somebody who wants to be as physically fit as long as I can. Michael Jai White called it cane. He wants to postpone cane day, where like it's the day that you have to walk with a cane the rest of your life.
Oh yeah.
Which means you are severely limited at that point. Maybe not severely, but there's a limit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to push that back as far as possible. But I say all that to say is that even when I'm in my old age and I plan to have a certain amount of success and things like that, I don't want to be materialistic. I just want to have the ability to go say fuck it and go live on an island and even then live minimally because I understand the value of life, which it takes people lifetimes to even get to that point where they just appreciate life, let alone be thinking about what am I going to do for the next generation? Or what am I going to do with my living situation? Or will I have a spouse? You know, I got somebody in my life now where like they're older and they have that regret of wishing that their relationships had worked out a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Even just to have somebody to share and he's in good shape. Yeah. But even to be in your like above, like 60s and above in good shape and not have somebody to share that with, companionship. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the quality of life that you should be after, not the shit that you can fill it with. Yeah.
I mean, our brother Soul in the circle talks about this all the time, you know, about people going after the outside clothing of success. You know, and I know that's not the way he puts it, but you know, the trappings, you know, the dressings of success, you know, what it looks like, you know, the fancy car, you know, the hot chick, you know, the ballin' house, everything like that. But it's like those are a side effect of you doing certain things with your life. You know, making the right decisions, doing these different things, not just chasing those things just to chase those things. I'll guarantee you this: if you in your life find something worth dying for, and you go after it with all that you have, and actually bring something into this world and actually try and have an effect on this world in whatever way it may be for you, whether it be, you know, you're into finances, you're into health, you're into, the ecosystem, whatever it may be. If you try and influence this world and you find something that you're willing to die for in this world and you work towards those things, success is going to find you, period. It's like the whole reason I do what I do with Convergence, I guess we can call it the sponsor of this video.
All right, one in the hole.
We already got our sponsor. That's hilarious. But the whole reason I'm doing Convergence because it's like what I see going on in the health, wellness, and the medical industry bothers me so fucking bad that I just can't sit on the sidelines anymore. I can't do it. I can see that that there needs to be a change, and I can see how it needs to change. And if I was just to sit and just watch and be like, well, somebody else will take care of it. Somebody else will do. Somebody else will step up and do it. And I just sit on the sidelines. I would die with regret. And it's like, as far as the success thing, I know me going after this thing, that there's no doubt in my mind that I'm going to be successful. Matter of fact, when you decide you want to live on the island, I'll rent you my islands.
You'll rent me the whole island.
I'll rent you that only for a little while. It's like an Airbnb thing. I'll rent you one of my islands.
Right.
So you can come stay on one of the islands.
One of your wellness retreats.
Matter of fact,
we'll do that.
You don't have to rent it. You can stay there for week 2.
I was gonna be like, damn, you gonna charge me to stay
on
the island?
No, I'm gonna charge you.
Fuck, bro.
You can stay. You're a homie. You can stay, man. You fam now. It's like just don't fuck the place up, because then I gotta send somebody after you.
Island got assassins now.
This is like the assassin maid.
As long as she's cute, that's fine.
Hey, let me tell your wife. But no, it's like if you go after these things, if you do certain things in your life, success is gonna come your way. And success might not be having a Lamborghini, might not be Rolls Royce for you, might not be having a private island that you can let Edmund sleep on the couch on.
Is the couch on the beach?
It's a very nice.
What is up with this island?
It's a very nice couch.
I hope so.
One of those outdoor couches, like overlooking the ocean. You'll be cool.
I feel like I'm just in an alley now at this point on this island.
What?
Anyway,
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There's no alleys. There's alleys on my island. the plane. Right. But no. So we all joking aside. Going after these things, success might look different for you. It might be having, the starter house that you can, that's a fixer-upper that you built with your own hands, and the 1967, Ford Mustang or something like that you rebuilt in your garage with your own hands or with your kids. That might be what success looks like for you. It might not be, the 11-room mansion with 2 kitchens and a bidet. It might not be, flying private. It might be, hey man, I want to be able to take my kids to Disneyland and do whatever trips we want to go on, have birthday parties, and actually spend time with my family, and not have to work until I drop, but actually spend time with my family. That might be what success looks like for you. So whatever that looks like for you, if you live your life in a certain kind of way, whether it's, as I've heard Soul say this a couple times, even if it's your dream to be like, hey man, I just want to put the smiles on kids' faces by having an ice cream truck. If that's your fucking dream, dude, be the best ice cream truck driver in the world. And you do that, and you do it with passion, and you keep moving towards that until you become successful at it. And for you, that might be what success looks like. Don't worry about what other people think success is, what IG shows and Facebook and YouTube and all this other bullshit. Don't worry about what success looks for everybody else. It may not be having acres of land. It may not be having these, trappings of life that everybody tells you this is what success looks like. It may be different for you. But that's all that matters, is what it means to you. So find what it is that you want to do, that you're willing to devote your life to, because that's what you're doing, devoting your life to something. Because there's plenty of rich people who have lots of money and are fucking miserable living in a mansion. That can happen too. They all look successful from the outside, but if you look at their internal world, their relationships are shit. Their life is chaos. They don't have any relationship with their kids. They do nothing but work, and they actually hate what they do. That's not success. That's existing. So you have to be able to actually build that life for yourself to actually gain this success versus just existing in this world. And I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
Well said. Here. All right. So this has been principles 16 through 18 of the Dokkodo. Thank you so much for.
Let's get some. Since we're all about that action, just like our boy Wes trying to be more like him. Let's get tangibles. Okay. What are some tangibles? 1 or 2 tangibles that they can take away from this video and put into practice today.
This is for the 17th.
Okay.
For do not fear death.
Gotcha.
Realize, truly sit down, no music, no nothing, draw the shades, whatever you got to do. Don't go into, I don't know, this might be dangerous, but set some time aside to really contemplate death. Really think about what that means to your existence. I'm not saying go out and Start tripping over it, or I know everybody thinks about this differently, but as a man, truly think about what it means for you to not be here anymore. And figure out what you're going to do from that point on. Even if you can't accept it right now, that's perfectly fine. This is not a game that we're thinking about. This is not a thought experiment. This is your life. So take the time to realize that you are going to die. This is inevitability. And then figure out what your next steps are. Because a lot of people spend too much time with the anxiety of death when nothing is even going on around them that insinuates that you're going to die.
Yeah.
Within the next 24 hours. So just think about that and think about what your next steps are. Whether it's go make a sandwich, fine, that helps preserve life. Whether it's I'm going to change up the way I eat so that I can live longer, do that. If it's I'm going to sign up for a fitness plan, whatever. Or I'm just going to sit here and read, or I'm going to watch my favorite TV show. Because ultimately, as long as you feel like you are not wasting time with the time that you are given, then it's not. If you enjoy a certain program, you want to sit there and eat crap, whatever, that is you enjoying your life. Nobody can tell you that. People can tell you it's the wrong thing.
I was about to say.
I know, because y'all Mr. Healthy and everything.
Like, I might sneak up behind you.
Right.
What the fuck you doing?
But ultimately, it's the individual who says, this is what's good for me, this is what I like, this is what I'm going to do. We can only give you suggestions. We can only say, this is what we do to improve ourselves. But ultimately, just make sure that you are living the life that you want to live going forward. And lastly, I would say my other tangible would just be to minimize whatever. If you feel like you've collected a lot of things in pursuit of your dream, and you feel like you haven't taken any action steps, let's do that. Let's say when we're talking about collecting weapons and over practicing with them, just take action, take the next step to whatever process that you're trying to achieve. For me, personally, I will use a personal example. I haven't set up my domain yet for my website. I have the services that I want to do for SOS Sound Lounge. There's a lot that I have planned for. I want to be able to do customized meditations, but I have no place for people to go to set up the customized meditation. So, but I've been collecting all this stuff, and how do I do it? How do I figure out how to do it? All this extra stuff where all I have to do is go.
Start. Just start.
I just have to start. So pick something that you've been hesitating on, or something that you feel like is your passion, and just start the next step of whatever leg. Maybe it's just starting in general. Start it.
Before you're ready.
Before you're ready.
Gotcha. Oh yeah. So I only really have one, and it kind of piggybacks on what you were talking about with the first one. Something I did that was probably one of the most powerful things I've done in a while was, like you said, meditating on my death. So I thought about it like this. It's like, okay, Travis, if you knew that you were about to die, if you had 24 hours left on this planet, not what would you do, would you be happy with your life the way it's been so far? You don't get to do anything else. It's like it ends right now, today. Today's your last day. You know it. The time is ticking down on your watch. It's like you can't do anything, you can't go anywhere. You just have to sit and think about your life. You're in the hospital bed, you're just sitting there, laying there by yourself. It's like, would you be satisfied with your life so far? Would you have been happy? Could you die with a smile on your face? Would you be satisfied with what you've done so far in your life? And I was like, fuck no. No, I haven't done enough. It's like I'm not there yet. It's like I've done a lot. People would be like, but you've done so much. It's like, yeah, but it's not where I want it to necessarily be. It's like I'm just getting started on it. I'm not even like full on like poof, go after, like in the process of hitting it. It's like, so I was like, no, I'm not satisfied with it. So ask yourself that. It's like, would you, if today was your last day, last 24 hours, you can't do anything, make any changes, anything like that, would you be satisfied with your life so far? It's like, if you say no, next question is like, what would you regret? And I asked myself that question. It's like, so okay, it's like, so you're not satisfied. So what about your life would you regret? Something you're not able to change it. You can't go back and be like, well, let me go fix that right now. No, you can't do that shit. What would you regret? And there's two major things that I said I would have regretted. And it was, for me, and I'm gonna get super personal. For me, it was, one, not living up to my full potential. It's like, I feel like I've been a 70%er for most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've just been a what they call an unconscious competent. It's like, I just happen to be, and it's gonna sound like a brag, I just happen to be very good at a lot of things that I don't put full effort into. I'm one of those ones that takes a test and doesn't studies like an hour before the test happens, for like an hour, but passes the test with like a B, and be like, man, what if I had actually committed myself to actually really studying this and really dedicated myself to this? And they're like, but you got a B. It's like, yeah, but what would happen if I actually had pushed, if I'd actually devoted myself to this thing? It's like, and I realized in my life, I've been a 70%er. It's like, I'm 70, 80%. It's just that my 70, 80%, I'm just a really good regular fucker.
Wow.
I'm just being honest. It's like, I'm just an excellent regular individual. It's like, I just happen to be a lot better than a lot of other regular people. It's like, I'm the fastest slow guy in the fucking world. That's how I feel sometimes. Wow. It's like, you're the king of the misfits type deal. It's like, and that bugged the shit out of me when I realized that. It honestly did. The fact that I have not been living up to my full potential. It's like, and I want to know what that looks like. It's like, what would that actually look like if I actually gave, everything I could to this life? It's like, what would my life look like if I did that? Because if it looks like this with just me giving 70, 80%, what would it look like if I gave everything I had?
You think you're tired now?
Well, I mean, but the thing is, like, can you really get tired if you're? That also includes having the most amount of fun. Taking care of yourself the best possible. That includes those things. So, if I maxed out my life like that, what would it look like? So that was 120. So that was one of those things. That was the first thing. The second one was legacy. I haven't, gotten the family with the kids. There's nobody here to carry on my name at the end. So if I die right now, my legacy, my name dies with my mom. It's like, there's family that'll carry on your name, but it's like one generation.
No direct.
That's it. It's like, I need to have that legacy in place. It's like, without that, it's like, I don't feel like I've accomplished that. It's like, I want to have both. So, that full potential, and part of that full potential is actually creating a legacy that changes this world, that actually, something better than me is left behind me. It's like, that's super important to me. Kids, family, wife, that whole nine. That is a super important thing to me, and I haven't achieved that yet. And if I die right now, I actually would regret it. So that would be my biggest thing. It's like one, as a tangible, really take a look at, if you died today, would you be satisfied with your life? It's like, if you die right and you couldn't change anything, would you be satisfied? Is how far you've gotten right now. Would you be satisfied? If you are, cool, man. Hey, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're not, next question you ask yourself is like, okay, if that's the case, then if I did die today, what regrets would I have? And don't just have those regrets. Go fucking change them. Do something today, like you said, to change that. Start. You don't need to have it figured out all the way. Just start doing something. Take action. Start.
Don't let your regrets outlive your change.
Be a man who moves mountains.
For sure.
Like Wes. Be a man who moves mountains.
All right.
It's like, don't die at the bottom of the hill, die on the hill.
All right. So that has been Principle 16 through 18. Probably our heaviest episode yet, but hey, we don't ask for light burdens, we ask for broad shoulders. So we're out here trying to get it done, man. For sure. We're able to stay on mission and in Wes's spirit. So with that being said, you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, anywhere podcasts can be found. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And we're just going to keep pumping out this content to you guys. We're coming to the end of this book, so we may pick up another book to be able to review that as well, or we'll just kind of see where our journey leads us.
For sure, man. We're just going to continue the journey. Keep bringing this to you, just because, like I said, just as we're bringing this information to you, man, like I said, just like today, sometimes, that it hits us, just like it does with you. So it's while we're talking to you, just like we always say, we're also talking to ourselves, not just working on, hey man, we're here, we made it, this is how you do it. It's like, hey man, we're working at it. This is something we're still in the process of.
On the job training.
On the job training, baby. Yeah, exactly.
On the job training.
We may have this figured out just a little more than most, but it's like, hey man, if I'm just a few feet ahead of you, man, at least you can step in my footprints.
Yeah.
You know, and keep pushing and keep growing so that we can become well-rounded men that move mountains like our boy West. Because at the end of the day, you know, you want to keep fighting. We want to put that fight back into men, like we said. And because you rather be a warrior in a garden
than a gardener in a war.
All right, guys, take it easy.
Peace out.